The EFQM Excellence Model 2013. This presentation has been split into three sections around the three components of the EFQM model. We're not going to take you through the model page by page, but we're going to explain the main changes and the reasons behind those changes. In 2009, the EFQM Board of Governors agreed that the model should be reviewed every 3 years to ensure it continues to reflect the reality of the world we work in. The purpose behind this is so that we can make evolutionary changes, not revolutionary changes that we saw in the 2010 version of the model. During 2011 and 2012, the core team that were assigned to complete the review of the model collected data from a variety of sources, both within the current EFQM user network and from outside within the wider management community. We used a number of meetings, workshops, and social media to generate discussion and debate on what the most important megatrends were and how these were impacting the way organizations work, both currently and into the future. The need for organizational agility and flexibility was clearly a major challenge for most. But how do we achieve this? First, we need to have the right connections and feedback loops in place to identify potential changes or new opportunities as early as possible. We need to be able to work out what needs to change, where, and how quickly. We need to be able to implement changes effectively and efficiently. And we need to understand and manage the risks, whether we decide to respond to the signals or not. This feedback was used to review and refine the fundamental concepts of excellence, the principles on which the model is built. So the fundamental concepts underpin the model. The review process starts with ensuring the key themes identified from the stakeholder dialogue are incorporated into the concepts. As the concepts are used to consolidate the detail of an assessment and feed the key issues back to the management team, the needs of this audience were a priority. The feedback received indicated that a number of the titles were confusing or not well understood within the community. For example, there were many different interpretations for achieving balanced results. The feedback also highlighted that some concepts were more action-oriented than others. Could we make it consistent? There was also significant debate regarding the concepts of managing by processes and building partnerships. Whilst there was no debate about their importance, it was felt that these were established to the point of stating the obvious. With process management, the feedback indicated that the process framework adopted by the organization needed to be flexible enough to change with appropriate speed, allowing the organization to be agile in responding to emerging opportunities and threats. The feedback also indicated that building partnerships was only one aspect that organizations needed to consider when developing their capabilities. Both these issues are still important, and they're still included in the 9 current criteria. The concepts they belong to, though, have been expanded to incorporate the feedback received. So the revised fundamental concepts are adding value for customers, creating a sustainable future, developing organizational capability, harnessing creativity and innovation, leading with vision, inspiration and integrity, managing with agility, succeeding through the talent of people, and sustaining outstanding results. There had previously been some debate as to whether there was any significance in the order of the concepts, such as whether they indicated their importance. In terms of the importance, this depends on the maturity, focus, and objectives of the organization. Some concepts may be more important than others, but this is not consistent for all organizations and will indeed change over time. To avoid this debate, in the 2013 update, the concepts are listed in alphabetical order. We'll now look at the concepts of developing organizational capabilities and managing with agility in a little more detail. You can read through the other concepts in the brochure. You can see how the concept of developing organizational capability has incorporated some of the aspects of building partnerships, but is now taking a wider view of the entire value chain. The focus of this concept is now on organizational development and ensuring they have the capacity and capability to achieve their strategic goals. In a similar way, you can see how process management has been incorporated into managing with agility. Change needs to be managed effectively to deliver the desired benefits. The process framework adopted needs to be flexible enough to enable organizations to deliver the changes required with appropriate speed. Ultimately, excellent organizations are recognized for their ability to proactively anticipate and lead change rather than just reacting to the actions of others. The criteria for the 9-box model, probably the most recognizable part of the EFQM Excellence Model. As with the 2010 updates, the bullet points from the fundamental concepts have been integrated into the criteria, forming the basis for the guidance points within the framework. The title Key Results was causing confusion, as the word key was also being used to identify the most important results in all the results criteria. This meant that we had key customer results, key people results, key society results, and key results. This was changed to business results and is accompanied by the definition of business stakeholders. These could be the owners, the shareholders, the investors, head office, government, or another body. Previously, we had avoided the use of business in the model as feedback from public sector was that this was too private sector focused. However, the feedback received during the consultation process was that budgetary pressure on public sector was leading to a more commercial attitude and that this change would be widely understood. There are no other changes to the criterion titles or the titles of criterion parts. Changes are restricted to the guidance points, aligned to the new concepts, and using simplified language throughout. So as you can see, the only change to the 9 boxes is that key results has become business results. The weightings for each of the boxes have not changed from the 2010 version of the model. The results all have a similar definition and are focused on the relevant stakeholder group for each criterion. Again, we've tried to simplify the language used in the bullet points and include references to the radar logic. As with the 2010 version of the model, the bullet points from the fundamental concepts form the basis of the criteria. The text is repeated to highlight the integration between the concepts and the criteria. Additional bullet points then expand upon the heading for each criterion part, giving further examples of what we observe in excellent organizations. The radar has 2 main applications. For assessors, it is a key tool for analyzing the organization, producing a score for each criterion part, and ultimately determining the level of excellence achieved. For organizations, it provides a management tool for questioning current performance levels and a structured cycle for driving improvement. At the highest level, the radar has not changed. However, some of the most significant updates in 2013 have been made to the radar. The additional bullet points that were added into the radar in 2010 added numerous benefits, but also increased the complexity. In addition, the wording of the radar scorecard using the term evidence, many found confusing, and this led to different interpretations and different ways of assessing organization. The core team focused on simplifying the radar to promote consistent understanding. In the 2013 radar scorecard, the bullet points have been reduced to a single guidance point for each attribute of the radar. The scoring scale has been simplified so it's consistent in each attribute. The wording reflects the fact that scoring is only done after all the available evidence and examples have been collected. It also changes the emphasis. It is now up to the applicant to prove they are a global role model to achieve the maximum score, instead of the assessors having to prove that they are not. More on that in a minute. Finally, we're now reflecting the way assessors actually use the radar during assessments, focusing on the final score for each criterion part. The boxes within the scorecard can still be ticked during the analysis to assist the scoring process by producing a profile. So, what is a global role model? One of the frequently asked questions is, how do we score 100 points in a criterion part? The answer is now you must be able to demonstrate beyond reasonable doubt that you are a global role model in this area. There are many ways for an organization to demonstrate this to the assessors, as they would have to demonstrate it to their own stakeholders. The point is, the organizations have to prove they are a global role model, not the assessors having to prove that they are not. The EFQM was founded in 1988 following a call from the then President of the European Commission, Jacques Delors, to European organisations to increase the competitiveness of the European economies. President of the European Council, Herman Van Rompuy, has given us the following statement to support the launch of the 2013 model. As you can see, competitiveness within the European economies remains a key theme. It proves that the EFQM and the Excellence Model are more relevant today than they ever were before.